they're coming a lot less cumbersome than the old ones. The difference is, for now, we're getting 2 different types of PEEP valves. So the gray one actually goes outside of our protocol. This one goes all the way up to 15. Our protocol only hits 10. This white one just goes up to 10. So the thing to be mindful about when using these is you got to hold the bottom while you're turning it, or it'll kind of just, the whole thing will turn. Then it has this little flap here, which gives you your current PEEP. So it'll just kind of rotate over, and then that'll give you your PEEP. So with the gray one, though, like I said, this is actually your max protocol, so you do not want to go all the way down to 15 for our protocol. When you're setting them up, it's a lot easier as far as the patient. So instead of kind of having to have somebody hold it on, trying to get that thing around, you can just kind of sit this on the top of their head, and it actually pivots forward. And then you can kind of put it down, secure it, and it's got these nice little Velcro straps, so you can kind of tighten up where it's necessary. You can also adjust up here. So this, so if you have somebody who's bigger head, smaller head, you can kind of move this around. You can pull this in, pull this out. You just have to pull these tabs forward right here. Other super nice thing about it, though, is you can actually give meds. So if you just pop one of these bottom ones off, just rotate the whole thing forward, and you can actually, give a nitro or do whatever you need to do underneath. Right, exactly, without trying to kind of, like pop the bottom ones off, try to figure all that out. So it's actually a much easier, more fluid move to giving medications and stuff. Then they also all come with their own nebulizer. So you could use one of our neb sets, but these are actually a little bit better for this. So you can just go ahead and plumb it in. It actually has a little safety valve in here. So if you forget to close this, which you should close this if you can, because that way you don't get stuff in there. But if you do happen to forget to close it, it's got a safety valve in here, so it won't actually get any air in. But like I said, if you get stuff up in here, so try to keep this cap closed. So once you have this in, if you want to put new nebs in, it's got this blue little button right here, and you can actually take one of the bullets and just kind of pop it right through there. You don't need to pull it out or anything. You just put the bullet right in it. So that would be kind of the benefit to using the one that comes with the circuit versus using our own, right? Then you're not unscrewing stuff, trying to put it back together. You can just plug in whatever you need to plug in. Then, as far as the connection to all your oxygen, the big changes here are they'll all come with this quick connect. So this quick connect works really well on all these regulators that aren't super used. I've tried them out in a couple of the trucks where the regulators are a little bit older and the connection's kind of loose, and the weight of this actually pulls it down a little bit, and then you lose connection and you get a lot of air leakage. If that happens, all you have to do is take this part off. So then you just screw this whole thing off, and you can screw it right into the regulators that have a little Christmas tree on them. Screw that Christmas tree off, screw this right on there. So the big change with that is when you plug this into the wall, you're getting 50 psi, so you need to be mindful of how much oxygen you're going to use, versus when you plug this into a regulator, you turn it to 25, and then you're only getting 25 psi. So if you have like a longer transport, one thing is if you have one of those regulators and you're coming like out of gassing with a CPAP patient, you might want to just connect to a regulator because you'll actually get about twice the amount of oxygen. The other thing is on these, most of these have the double ports, so if you're going to just screw in and you don't have one of these, you don't have to pull this off, just screw it right into the port over here. Otherwise, when you're making this connection with this guy, so if you pull hard enough, so it just goes into the normal slots like our normal ones. If you pull hard enough, this will come out, but it starts stripping the plastic and it also starts stripping the regulator. So easier route is just to give it a little twist, and then it barely takes any effort. If you crank on it hard enough, of course you'll get it out, but it's just going to do damage to stuff, so not really worth it. But yeah, so if you want to just put it in, the number one things that I would say you probably want to get some hands on is messing with the PEEP and then getting this twist down, because it's actually just a super easy move to just do that. So this is your filter. If you guys remember that little filter you had to plug into the old circuit, so this is taking over for that. So instead of having to mess with, trying to figure it out, or sometimes it would kind of pop out, that's already done. So this part is just a regulator. So this is actually always giving you an FiO2 of 30. So with all your CPAP patients, that's your FiO2 stuck at 30, regardless of what your airflow is at. Other than that, it's super simple. Don't have that big backpack anymore. You have more room on the back for your monitor, for your oxygen, for all your other stuff that you're going to have, because usually these people they come with lots of stuff, so you want to keep them on your monitor all the time. So it's nice to have some room freed up in the back. The other thing is you get a nice accordion out of it. So instead of kind of having a bunch of wires and stuff, and those discrete cables that can kind of pinch. You can just accordion out to whatever length you need. The other thing is if you pull it out and you don't need as much length, I would suggest kind of shrinking it back up, because the longer you have it, the more likely you're going to get a kink. So I'd kind of move it out to where you have just enough room to kind of move your patient around, but don't give too much space. Other than that, they're super simple. So if you want to go ahead and kind of try to mess with them with the regulators and stuff, go ahead.
Are we going to start seeing these circuits just in the airway kits?
So from what I heard, they're still trying to figure out where our trucks are going to have them. It sounds like there'll be one in the wall like we usually have, and then I'm not sure where they're going to put another one. They're small enough that it almost seems like they could probably just stick them right in our aero kit on oxygen. Super nice.
When are we filming these? Or are we already filming these?
They should be out now.
Should be.
So I got to use one in December when they first came, and they were just kind of handed to us, and we got a, it ended up, we didn't know quite what it was while we were there, but when I did follow up, it ended up being flash pulmonary edema or acute renal failure, sudden onset, no history of CHF or anything. So she was, had audible rails when we got there, and blood pressure was adequate, and so we started her on the CPAP. And we were having a very difficult time getting a line established. We were considering IO. But I think the issue was when her blood pressure, when I took it and I couldn't get radial pulse, and we were trying, I ended up pulling it off of her because, like you said, I was having a difficult time. I'm so used to our old machine where we could adjust and dial
just
it.
Kind of get it in the green zone.
And it was just unfamiliar equipment. And we were right there. So it didn't have it. There was no harm that was caused by it.
Well, me and Sean was actually just talking to me about that. I think we were also wondering if maybe you had one of the regulators that goes up to 15 and it was cranked all the way down, so you were giving like 15 a peep. Because that, especially if you have kind of a critical patient, that's one reason our limit is 10. Because you really need to be monitoring a lot more things if you're going above 10 with your peep. So that's especially why if you have one of these gray regulators before they all get normalized, I think we'll all be going to these ones that max out at 10.
So you think this is probably
we think you might have had that one,
15,
and it was cranked at 15.
and so I should have turned it down.
Right. And so then
that wouldn't have been as much pressure going in, would have been down, which would have, that makes sense.
And you can use up, and you can use it up to just back up to 5. So our protocol is to start at 5 and then move up to 10.
Otherwise, it was super convenient and easy to put on.
Yeah.
So, and the adjustable, at first it started where it was low, or it was low on her face, and so we did the adjust, and that worked really well too. So.
And then the other thing that me and Sean were looking at, so the old ones with that foam, the end-tidal cannula fits on real easy and it doesn't really leak. Right. This one with the plastic, the seal might be a little different, so you might just need to be mindful of the seal. But the other thing about these is it's not like that foam where you just like smash it onto the face. You really want it kind of like a good BVM seal. You want it on there enough that you get a good seal, but not overly tight.
So is it 7.5? Is that sort of like
so that'd be your step up. So I would start at 5, and then if you need a little bit more peak, just crank 7.5. And if that's not working, then
so if you got like more critical patients,
CPAP, you gotta make sure.
go up to 10.
And
Like a normal COPD, where you just start off on 5.
start at 5, and then if that's not getting you what you need, then move to 7.5, and then 10 is
Before we had that little green thing.
Yeah, and you
that's
can
what I was just. That's exactly what I was saying about that. I didn't because it, it was just.
Yeah, I know the old one you pretty much just like shrink it up until it got to the green, and then you're like, oh, look, I'm at like 5 to 7, and you just kind of try to float it in a good zone. This one is what I do like about this. It's a lot more direct, and it's a lot more predictable. So you know how much oxygen is coming out of here. You know how much peak you're getting. It's not kind of that because the old one too. You had to hit the green zone on exhalation, so it was kind of like you had to time it with their respirations also, because it was the needle was moving, and so with this one I feel like you have a little bit more control with that stuff.
It's kind of like a gas mask.
Never have one of those on, but
They're very uncomfortable.
What are you talking about? They're fun. Is this
Not
the
when
only?
You have to wear them for long periods of time.
Is this the only CPAP that we were looking at, or were we looking at a few?
that would be a question for Sean. I kind of got it at the end. They told me this is what we're getting, and to help them roll it out. Yeah, that'd be kind of
Plug it right. Just plug it in. So you're saying that like, if you take that off and just plug it directly in, you're only getting
No, so if you're on, those regulators, you plug it in there, and then you crank the regulator to 25, you're 20 to 25. But, so this is going to make it, you're going to get a constant FiO2 up to 30. Whether you're plugged into one of these and getting 50 or 25. The benefit of the 25 would be if you have like a long transport, right? Where you're
taking it, now you keep it in there like that.
Exactly.
That's
Because
what-
I think you get, so like on this one, for instance, if
So it
you're,
regulates
But I mean,
at
if we're giving
25,
multiple
but
breathing
with the
treatments,
critical
you could always.
plug it in, you're still getting.
FiO2 30.
How much time do you get out of that song?
So on this one, if you have 1,000 in here and you plug straight into it, you're going to get about 2.5 to 3 minutes. If you have a full cylinder, you're going to get about 5 minutes.
So literally plug it in and go.
Yeah, plug it in, go to the hospital. And on these, when I've had these patients, generally what I'll do is, especially if we ran this in the house at all,
Right.
I will redo my canister. Even if I'm at like 800, I'll just pull this thing, plug in my new tank. That way you get that 5 minutes.
If you have a firefighter, give them theirs.
Yeah, or get it.
You know
I'd get a
what I
clean
mean?
oxygen tank though.
Yeah.
How much time do we have on our main?
So a full main, I think. I'm sure I've done the math on this. I think a full main is like 25 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. Yeah.
You know what I think, that's a good question that all of us have. I think I'm gonna do another one of those cards where it has all the E tanks, the D tanks, wall tanks, in specific PSI for lengths of time. And especially if we're gonna be using the vents, using these ones with CPAP, having that little cheat sheet, because I don't
Would
know
be
it off
really
the top of
helpful.
my head.
No.
Well, I
A
could
lot
do.
more than lab value.
So I mean, basically, it's actually a pretty easy calculation. So like on that big cylinder, you have a constant of 1.56. Then you just multiply that by the amount of oxygen minus 200. So if you have like 1,000 cc's in your main, you multiply that by 1.56, so then you get 1,560. And then, then you have to subtract, so then it just turns into a really.
Unicorns.
Right,
Well, and then you just divide that, so then you divide that by your oxygen rate. So,
right.
so if it's like, that's why you get the double if you're at 25 versus you're at the 50. So,
So it's 1360 divided by 25 if you're.
no, so for the main, it's
Straight
1560, then if you want to,
Then you subtract 200, so you're 1360 divided.
so you're about 12, it's about 1200. So 1200
Oh
divided
my
by,
gosh, I'm sorry, I
50.
thought you walked behind me.
yeah.
So it'd be like 60.
And that's where the benefit of using, if you plug into your regulator over just plugging straight into the main, because then you'll double your time, because then you go from 50 psi down to 25 psi. So, any other questions about problems you might have with these guys?
Those are actually pretty simple.
Oh, they're
A lot
pretty
simpler
easy.
than our other ones.
Yeah, and there's less room for things to kink, like those little hoses can kind of kink when you put everything in. You've got the cumbersome kind of like bag you were
Backpack,
carrying, and
right.
then trying to figure out all the hoses
All
and
those
stuff.
little hoses were getting bent, sometimes you'd have to double check the hoses.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
trying to figure out what's not working,
Yeah.
so.
Qantu, a question that came up in the vent lecture was if we could use these for CPAP
Yeah.
over there, and I don't think we can, just because of
On the ventilator.
Oh.
CPAP on the ventilator.
I don't think so. So because this port is actually bigger, I think, than any vent port I've ever
Oh,
seen.
no, I mean the mask.
The mask.
We can't use that mask
Oh,
for
gotcha.
CPAP on the ventilator because it has holes in it.
Okay.
And as long as those holes are plugged,
Yeah.
everything should be okay.
But then if your pressure gets too high, yeah.
Exactly. We can't use this connect, like you can't connect it right here
Right.
because of this hole in there. So just use whatever ones are brought with, like if you were doing that critical care one, whatever they give you to do the
Yeah.
CPAP one, we can't use these ones.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question.
I think,
I
does
think
that
you're
sound
right.
right?
Yeah. I don't think you can
Well,
use that
I
with
think
it.
if you connect it here, this flap completely takes that hole out of the equation until it exhale. So
Yeah.
Remember the exhale is being measured. That exhalation
Oh, I
is
see.
being
Yeah.
measured, so we can't get a sense of the disconnect.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you're right. Yeah. Okay, so moving on from that, if nobody else has any more about CPAP. All right. So next up, we have the chest darts. So things that were pointed out. For one, if you look at the locations that people have darted on here, it's way too medial. I mean, this one is almost like an apical heart right here. That's not a good call. So the big things takeaway I think on this is that obviously it's a mannequin. Obviously it's not anatomically correct. So if you measure it out on yourself, the clap pressure comes like out to here. So the ways I've measured in the field when I was going to do a chest dart is I'll usually take a finger and I'll put it right in the middle there, and then I'll take my other hand and I'll march it out to the end of the clavicle, and and then I'll just put my pinkies together, and that kind of gives me like a good mid-clavicular line. So then you can just kind of put that down and then march it out. So if you're down there, that puts that about right there. So the normal place that we do is second intercostal right over the third rib, so that'd be right here. And then in the new placement is actually going to cut the difference between the mid-clavicular and the mid-axillary line and come down to the fourth intercostal. So the ways I've usually done it is once I've got that line, I'll just kind of put my fingers in, and then I'll just let my fingers fall into the intercostal spaces. I don't really like to do the whole kind of accordion thing. I'm just not finished doing that when I'm bouncing down the freeway. So my method is usually just to do this, and then that puts you right here. Go with your mid-axillary, find your mid-clavicular, go right in the middle, and so this would be our new site. So the reason they picked the new site is because so many people have lots of adipose tissue up here. You have larger people, maybe you have females. You can't really come straight in here. You're going to have to get such a long catheter to get through all that tissue. So over here you have a lot less tissue, and it's a lot easier to kind of find your landmarks.
You point on this side so
Yeah,
we can actually see.
Yeah, so it's going to be right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so this would be your mid-clavicular line, mid-axillary, just kind of cut right in the middle, right between them. The other good thing about this site over the usual secondary site that's down here is with that site, like you have flaccid arms or something, you know, all they have to do is something like that, and you can get it dislodged, and then you've lost your site. So the good thing about right here is it kind of misses that area, but it is also still high enough and inward enough that it's missing things like your diaphragm and other big vessels. Yeah. And then obviously it's going to be a different location on these than it is on actual people. So it is definitely important to feel to the end of the clavicle on the actual person that you're about to do this to. And so like I said, my method is usually just do that, find the middle there, boom, gives you a nice easy. The nipple line is usually pretty well lined up, especially on males, but everybody's a little bit different. And usually if you go lateral of the nipple line, it usually get you what you need.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we rotate the arm back that we're going to do it on the axillary side?
So that's kind of the nice thing about this location too, is that all you really have to do is bring the arm down a little bit, and it'll give you access to where you need to go. If you need more access and you really want to, you can. It's not,
Well, I'm not saying anatomically with any positional,
Yeah.
like we won't be hitting the liver or nothing.
yeah, you can kind of move things around, but I would probably opt for just kind of moving the arm back and down, and then kind of finding my spot. That way I don't have a whole lot of things coming by, because then, when you get things back into place, you might miss something. So I would probably just leave it down, but if you need the area, that'd be fine.
The only thing I can think of is maybe if you raise the arm up, that it might define the breast tissue a little bit more, so that you could,
Yeah.
Well, that's what we do with chest tubes, and I'm not too sure darts are the same way.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely true too. Yeah. If you're having kind of a hard time seeing it, you're good.
And what about for CPR? Are these going to be utilized as CPR first outs rather than the?
So these are kind of, from what I understand, these are basically an additional place you can go. So if you think that, for whatever reason, maybe you're going to need to start CPR, then do you want to use this as your first line? That's absolutely cool. It's just, they're giving you now 3 locations you can choose. And that way it's like, you don't know where was your chest trauma. Is it kind of in, or, the example they had in the video was like a guy with a pacemaker right there. Right? So it just gives you the 3 locations now. So, if you're thinking, being needed to move to CPR, that would probably be a better location than the normal anterior. So third was your regular mid-axillary.
Okay, and this one's the mid-clavicular.
So the normal one, normal anterior is mid-clavicular, normal secondary is mid-axillary. So now they're giving a 3rd location right between them.
Oh, right in the middle.
In the 4th intercostal.
Anterior axillary.
Yes, the anterior axillary. In the 4th intercostal.
So you can either go there.
Well, and so then your normal anterior is in the 2nd intercostal. So normal anterior is up here. This one's like just down here a little bit. So the problem with trying to do this one over here would be because then you're get too much of this in the way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So they had quorum, or at least they used to, if we were going to do a tube, that they didn't want us poking down at the very axillary one.
Yeah.
Are we still thinking of that, or is that gone
You
by
still-
the wayside?
You still can. So I think now you just have all 3 locations.
Okay. So, but they won't get mad at us if they're like, hey, you should have gone mid-clavicular instead
I
of
know.
completely
I think in the end, if you need to dart somebody, just getting the dart in the hospital is going to be like, I'm glad they're still bringing them to the hospital first. Yeah, I think overall, it just gives you another option.
I think the biggest thing in the video that Schurtz was talking about is that your diaphragm is connected at 4th rib, nipple line down to the bottom. So if you go below the 4th intercostal, there's a good chance that you're out of that.
wants a needle in the diaphragm?
Yeah, these are-
You guys want to practice with this? We have a